The Galactic Council Chamber was the most powerful room in the known universe. It was large and round, with tall silver walls that curved high above the seats of the alien leaders. At the center of the chamber floated a giant holographic screen. Every important decision in the galaxy was made in this room. For thousands of years, the chamber had never been quiet. There were always debates, arguments, loud voices, disagreements between empires. But today, something was different. Today, the room felt heavy. At the center of the hologram floated the image of a small blue planet, Earth, the newest species to enter space travel. Humans. Most members of the council did not think much about them. Humans were new. They had only recently built faster-than-light engines. Their ships were simple compared to ancient alien fleets. Their government was divided. Their planet was still full of internal conflict. To most of the galaxy, humans looked unprepared. Weak. But before allowing any species to join the Galactic Alliance, the Council had one rule. They must study that species' full history, especially their military history. A tall alien with long pale fingers stood and spoke. Begin the archive review. The chamber lights dimmed. The hologram changed. The words appeared. Human military history, complete record. At first, some council members seemed bored. Many species had violent pasts. It was normal for young civilizations to fight among themselves before they matured. The first images appeared. Ancient human tribes fighting with stone weapons, metal swords, wooden shields, simple armor, primitive. Several council members relaxed. This is expected, one whispered. Then the images began to change faster. Large armies marching across continents, cities burning, empires rising and falling. The timeline moved forward quickly. Gunpowder, cannons, warships. The conflicts grew larger, more organized, more deadly. The AI voice echoed calmly in the chamber. Recorded organized warfare, over 5,000 years. A low murmur spread across the room. 5,000 years? That was longer than many species had existed. The screen shifted again. The humans entered what they called the World Wars. The hologram showed massive battlefields, trenches stretching for miles, explosions shaking the ground, machines designed only to kill faster. Then the numbers appeared. Millions dead. The chamber became quieter. The timeline continued. The Second World War. Even more destruction. Entire cities destroyed in seconds by weapons powered by the atom itself. One council member leaned forward slowly. They split the atom for war? The AI answered, yes. Silence followed. But the review did not stop. The Cold War, proxy wars, civil wars, revolutions, regional conflicts. The screen moved faster and faster. The number of conflicts increased. It felt endless. One alien historian finally asked, how often were they at peace? The AI paused for a brief second. Extended global peace lasting over 50 years. None recorded. A wave of discomfort moved across the chamber. But something else began to appear on the screen. Between the wars. Progress. After the First World War, humans advanced medicine. After the Second, they advanced rocketry. During the Cold War, they raced into space. Every conflict pushed them forward. Every disaster forced innovation. One council scientist adjusted her data display. Their technological growth rate increases after each major war. The screen showed graphs. Sharp rises. Over and over. War. Growth. War. Growth. It was a pattern. And it was not normal. Most species slowed down after destruction. Humans accelerated. The hologram zoomed in on Earth's surface. Despite 2 world wars, despite nuclear weapons, despite constant regional fighting, the population grew. Cities expanded. Technology improved. The humans did not collapse. They rebuilt. Stronger. The AI displayed a final statistic. Human extinction probability during internal conflicts, 67%. The room froze. Repeat, said one council member quietly. Human extinction probability during internal conflicts, 67%. Species survival confirmed. A long silence filled the chamber. They had nearly destroyed themselves. More than once. And yet they survived. Not by chance. By effort. By stubborn refusal to disappear. The hologram changed again. Now it showed something different. Videos of human soldiers. Not monsters. Not emotionless killers. But young men and women protecting others. Carrying wounded allies. Shielding civilians. Standing their ground against impossible odds. The AI spoke again. Human behavior in warfare includes high rates of sacrifice for non-related individuals. One general frowned. They protect those who are not family? Yes. The screen showed a human soldier running into danger to save a stranger. Another shielding a child. Another refusing to retreat even when defeat was certain. The council began to understand something uncomfortable. Humans were not strong because they loved war. They were strong because they endured it. The final part of the archive began. Modern human warfare. Cyber operations. Drone technology. Artificial intelligence. Space defense systems. For a species so new to the stars. They were learning very fast. Too fast. One quiet voice broke the silence. If they fight like this among themselves, what happens if they unite against an outside threat? No one answered. The AI displayed a simulation title. Scenario: External alien aggression. The results were still loading. The chamber remained completely silent. For the first time in recorded history, no debates, no arguments, no pride, only quiet thought. The blue planet Earth rotated slowly in the center of the room. Small, fragile, but dangerous in a way that no one had expected. The AI finally spoke. Preliminary analysis complete. Every eye in the chamber turned toward the glowing words. But before the results could fully display, the screen paused. Processing. The council members waited. And in that long, heavy silence, they began to realize something. They were not studying a weak species. They were studying survivors. And survivors were the hardest beings in the universe to defeat. The lights of the chamber remained dim. The blue planet kept spinning. And for the first time in thousands of years, the Galactic Council did not know what to say. The chamber remained dark. The blue image of Earth still floated in the center. The simulation results were now fully loaded. Across the massive screen, new words appeared. Behavioral pattern analysis. Humanity. The AI voice spoke calmly, but the tone felt heavier than before. After reviewing 5,000 years of human warfare, a repeating behavioral pattern has been identified. The council members leaned forward. On the screen, a simple cycle appeared. Conflict. Loss. Adaptation. Growth. Then it repeated. Again. And again. The AI continued. Humans do not simply fight. They study their failures. They improve their weaknesses. They return stronger. The hologram changed. It showed a small human army from centuries ago. Poorly equipped. Outnumbered. They lost. Then the image shifted forward in time. The same nation. Better weapons. Better strategy. They won the next conflict. The pattern repeated across continents. One alien strategist narrowed his eyes. They treat war as a teacher. The AI responded. Confirmed. A soft wave of discomfort passed through the chamber. Most advanced species avoided war at all cost. War slowed progress. War destroyed culture. But for humans, war seemed to accelerate development. The screen displayed human inventions. Radar. Jet engines. Satellite systems. The internet. All developed during or after major conflicts. One council scientist spoke quietly. Their greatest advancements come during crisis. Another graph appeared. Human cooperation levels during peaceful times. Moderate. Human cooperation levels during existential threats. Extreme. The numbers were clear. When humans felt safe, they argued. When humans felt threatened, they united. The AI zoomed in on an event labeled Global Pandemic Response, 21st Century. The chamber watched as humans struggled. Fear spread. Resources became limited. Governments disagreed. At first, it looked like collapse. But then the timeline moved forward. Vaccines developed in record time. Global scientific cooperation. Mass production systems built almost overnight. They move fastest when cornered, one elder whispered. The AI confirmed. Yes. The hologram shifted again. Now it showed battlefield footage from different centuries. In each scene, humans were losing, outnumbered, outgunned, surrounded. But something strange kept appearing. Improvisation. When weapons failed, they built new ones. When supplies ran out, they adapted. When leaders fell, others stepped forward. The AI highlighted a human phrase found repeatedly in their history. Never give up. The words appeared in hundreds of human languages. The council members stared at the translation. Most species had surrender protocols to reduce losses. Humans had those too. But far less often. A military analyst raised a question. What is their breaking point? The chamber grew still. The AI processed for several seconds. Breaking point not consistently observed. Humans demonstrate irregular resilience spikes under extreme pressure. The analyst blinked. Explain. Under conditions where survival probability falls below 20%, human resistance intensity increases by an average of 40%. A low murmur spread. They fight harder when defeat is certain? Someone asked. Yes. The room felt colder. The screen now showed simulations of hypothetical alien encounters. Small-scale invasion. Humans divided at first. Confusion. Political disagreement. Public fear. But once the threat became undeniable, unity. Military budgets increased. Civilian industries converted to defense. Scientists redirected to weapon research. Production numbers climbed sharply. One council general spoke slowly. They become efficient very quickly. The AI displayed another statistic. Human civilian manufacturing infrastructure capable of wartime conversion within months. Images appeared of factories once used for cars, now building tanks. Facilities once used for home electronics, now producing military drones. They prepare for war even during peace, the general said. Correct, the AI replied. The hologram zoomed out again to show Earth from orbit. Bright lights across the continents. Massive cities. Billions of humans living complex lives. So divided. So loud. So chaotic. Yet hidden beneath that chaos was something steady. Endurance. Another dataset appeared. Historical recovery speed after major war. Compared to other species in galactic records, humans rebuilt cities at 3 times the average rate. Population recovery was twice as fast. Technological advancement accelerated instead of slowing. The council historian spoke carefully. They do not fear destruction as we do.
No, said the AI.
They expect it. That sentence hung in the air. Humans expected hardship. They expected struggle. They prepared their children with stories of heroes who stood against impossible odds. Their entertainment was filled with war stories. Their history books were full of conflict. Their monuments honored sacrifice. War was not sacred to them, but survival was. The AI paused briefly before showing the final analysis of the session. Conclusion: humanity does not seek war as primary objective. However, if war occurs, humans adapt at a rate considered abnormal by galactic standards. One young council member asked the question everyone was thinking. If we threaten them, will they attack first? The AI answered carefully. Probability of unprovoked large-scale aggression low. The chamber relaxed slightly. Then the AI continued. Probability of total mobilization after confirmed external threat extremely high. The room fell silent again. The simulation shifted one final time. A united Earth. All nations cooperating. All industries aligned. Military fleets expanding into orbit. New ships designed specifically to counter alien technology. The speed of development was alarming. In less than 20 years of simulated threat, humanity closed the technological gap. In 40 years, they surpassed their invaders in several categories. One final line appeared on the screen. Humanity's greatest weapon is adaptation. The chamber lights slowly brightened. No one spoke immediately. They had expected primitive violence. Instead, they found strategic evolution. They had expected chaos. Instead, they found a species that turned chaos into fuel. The blue planet continued spinning quietly in the hologram.
Small.
Divided, but capable of becoming something unstoppable if pushed. And deep in the silent chamber, a new fear began to grow. Not fear of human aggression, but fear of what humans might become
If someone forced them to prove themselves.
The chamber lights remained low. The air inside the Galactic Council Hall felt heavier than before. The Council had seen the wars.
They had seen the pattern.
Now they wanted to see one final test. The AI displayed a new title across the screen. Case Study: Planetary Unity Under Extinction Threat. The image of Earth zoomed closer. Clouds moved across oceans. Continents glowed with city lights. The AI began. Throughout most of their history, humans remained divided by borders, beliefs, and politics. However, rare global threats triggered full planetary cooperation. The first example appeared: a massive asteroid moving toward Earth. The year was far in humanity's past. Governments argued at first. Some denied the danger. Some blamed each other. Some delayed action. The Council watched closely. "This is where they fail," one member whispered. But then the timeline moved forward. Scientists from rival nations began sharing data. Space agencies that once competed started working together. Private companies joined government programs. Within months, a global defense project was created. The AI showed images of rockets launching, satellites placed into orbit, new engines tested at extreme speeds. They moved quickly, a council engineer said softly. "Yes," the AI replied. Initial delay followed by rapid unified response. The asteroid was destroyed before impact. Humanity celebrated. But what interested the council was not the victory. It was the speed of unity. The AI zoomed into communication records. Emergency meetings between enemies. Military secrets shared. Resources redistributed across borders. For a short time, humanity acted as one single species. The screen shifted again. A second event appeared. This time, not from nature, but from fear of each other. The nuclear age. Humans had built weapons strong enough to destroy their own world. The council watched in silence. Stockpiles of warheads. Missiles pointed across oceans. Submarines hidden beneath deep waters. They were ready to end themselves, one elder said quietly. "Yes," the AI confirmed. The tension inside the chamber grew. But observe the next stage. The timeline moved forward. Treaties signed. Communication hotlines created. Arms reduction agreements. Fear of total destruction forced humans to create rules. Not perfect rules. Not permanent peace. But limits. They stood on the edge, the AI said, and stepped back. The council members shifted in their seats. Most species in galactic history had not stepped back. They had fallen. The hologram changed again. Now the year displayed was recent. Humanity had finally discovered faster-than-light travel. They were no longer alone in theory. Signals had been detected at the edge of their system. Unidentified. Unclear. Possible alien origin. The council leaned forward. This was important. The AI replayed archived human reactions. News broadcasts filled with fear and excitement. Political leaders arguing. Military forces placed on alert. Social media exploding with rumors. At first, it looked like chaos. But then something familiar happened. Global summits were organized. Former enemies sat at the same table. Space agencies merged certain programs. Joint defense initiatives were quietly signed. The AI highlighted a key data point. First confirmed unknown interstellar signal resulted in highest level of global cooperation in recorded peacetime history. One council member spoke carefully. They did not attack each other. No, the AI said. They prepared together. The chamber grew silent again. The screen now displayed a full simulation. Scenario: confirmed alien invasion fleet approaching Earth. The council watched as the virtual timeline began. Day 1. Panic.
Protests.
Confusion. Day 3. Emergency global broadcast. Unified Planetary Defense Command created. Day 7. Military forces from every continent placed under shared coordination. Day 30. Industrial output increased by 300%. Civilian factories converted. Universities redirected to military research. Private corporations drafted into planetary service. The speed was alarming. The Council had seen large empires take years to respond to threats. Humans did it in weeks. The AI continued the simulation. Year 1. Orbital defense platforms constructed. Prototype weapons designed using reverse-engineered alien signals. Cyber defense networks expanded worldwide. Year 3. Human fleet numbers doubled. Year 5. Technological gap reduced by half. A council general spoke slowly. They are chaotic in peace, but efficient in crisis. Yes, the AI replied. The hologram zoomed in on Earth's surface during the simulation. People lining up to volunteer. Scientists sleeping inside laboratories. Engineers working without rest. Families saying goodbye. Children watching rockets launch into the sky. They accept sacrifice quickly, one observer noted.
Correct, said the AI.
Survival priority overrides internal conflict. The simulation advanced further. Year 10. Human fleet strength matched projected invading force. Year 15. Human technology began surpassing original alien design in adaptability. The council chamber was completely silent now. The AI displayed a final message for this case study. Conclusion: external existential threat probability of full human unity, 92%. 92%. For a species so divided, that number was shocking. One young council member asked in a quiet voice, "What if the threat does not destroy them quickly?" The AI answered without emotion. Long-term war increases human innovation and resilience. The meaning was clear. A short war might hurt humanity. A long war would make them stronger. The blue planet rotated slowly, once more. Small oceans. Fragile atmosphere. Billions of fragile bodies. Yet behind that fragile image was something powerful. When alone, humans argued. When comfortable, they disagreed. But when facing extinction, they united with terrifying speed. The council members looked at one another. They had studied many species. Some were strong. Some were intelligent. Some were united. But rarely had they seen all three qualities awaken at once under pressure. And humanity did exactly that. The AI dimmed the screen slightly. Further simulations available upon request. No one requested them, because the message was already clear. If the galaxy ever stood against Earth as a common enemy, they would not face divided nations. They would face a single, determined species. And that possibility was far more dangerous than any individual human war in the archives. The chamber lights slowly brightened. But still, no one spoke. The chamber lights returned to full brightness. But no one felt comfortable. The council had seen enough history to respect humanity. Now they wanted certainty. Cold numbers. Clear outcomes. Not emotion. Not theory. One senior strategist finally spoke. Run a full invasion simulation. A few members hesitated. But the order had already been given. The AI responded instantly. Simulation type? The strategist answered slowly. Total suppression scenario. Maximum force. No diplomacy. The chamber grew very quiet. The hologram changed. Earth appeared again. But this time, it was surrounded by red markers. Alien war fleets. Advanced weapons. Superior shields. Technology far beyond current human level. The AI began. Simulation start. Day 1. Alien ships entered Earth's orbit. Human satellites were destroyed within minutes. Global communications failed. Major cities were struck from space. The council watched as explosions covered continents. Smoke filled the skies. Millions died in the first hours. The strategist crossed his arms. "It is over," he said quietly. But the AI did not stop. Day 3. Human military forces reorganized. Emergency bunkers activated. Submarine fleets disappeared beneath the oceans. Mobile missile systems moved into hidden positions. Despite heavy damage, humans were still fighting. Day 7. Alien forces landed ground troops. Advanced armor. Energy weapons. Perfect coordination. Human forces were pushed back. Cities fell. Governments collapsed. The chamber felt certain of the outcome. But then the numbers shifted. Human resistance did not decrease. It increased. The AI highlighted a new statistic. Recruitment surge, 400% increase following confirmed planetary invasion. Even after losing major cities, even after orbital bombardment, humans were volunteering. Factories that survived began producing weapons nonstop. Civilian vehicles were converted into armored transports. Old weapons were taken out of storage. Improvised explosives appeared in occupied zones. The strategist frowned. They're fighting without central command. Yes, the AI replied. Decentralized resistance, networks activated. The screen zoomed into different continents. Small human groups using simple tactics. Ambush. Sabotage. Hit-and-run attacks. Alien supply lines were targeted. Communication relays destroyed. The invaders controlled the sky. But the ground became unpredictable. Year 1. Alien forces controlled 40% of Earth's surface. But complete control remained impossible. Human underground cities expanded. Scientists relocated to hidden facilities. Research accelerated. The AI displayed another alarming statistic. Reverse engineering progress, ahead of projected timeline. Even during occupation, humans were studying captured alien weapons, improving them, modifying them, using alien tools against their creators. Year 3. The simulation showed something unexpected. Human-built hybrid ships. Primitive compared to alien warships. But adaptable. Quickly repaired. Easily modified. They began targeting isolated enemy vessels. The strategist leaned forward. That should not be possible at this stage. The AI responded calmly. Human innovation rate increases under prolonged threat. Year 5. Alien fleet losses exceeded projections. Earth was still heavily damaged. Population reduced. Infrastructure broken. But humanity had not surrendered. Instead, they had changed. The screen showed something new. Human space stations rebuilt in secret. Asteroid mining converted to military production. Solar system defenses expanding. They were thinking long-term. The alien invasion meant to crush them quickly had done something else. It had unified them completely. No nations. No borders. Only one command structure. Planetary Defense Authority. The council members exchanged uneasy glances. The simulation continued. Year 8. Human weapons now specifically designed to counter alien shield frequencies. Year 12. Alien fleet strength reduced by 35%. Reinforcements requested from distant systems. Year 15. Human fleet numbers surpassed initial invasion force. The strategist's confidence faded. This scenario assumed technological superiority. Correct, the AI answered. And yet, human adaptability compensates for initial inferiority. The chamber felt colder than before. The simulation approached its final stage. Year 20. Alien forces retreated from Earth orbit. Human fleets pursued. Not just defending, chasing. The screen displayed a final projection. Projected outcome after 30 years. Human victory, 71% probability. Silence. Complete silence. The strategist finally spoke in a lower voice. What if we increase bombardment intensity? The AI processed. Scenario adjustment accepted. The simulation reset. This time, alien forces used heavier orbital destruction. Entire regions of Earth were rendered unlivable. Oceans boiled in some areas. Atmosphere damaged. Casualties beyond calculation. The council watched in grim silence. Surely this would end it. But again, humans adapted. Underground habitats expanded. Artificial food systems developed. Climate repair technologies accelerated. By year 25, human fleets still returned to space. Fewer in number, but stronger. The final line appeared again. Long-term extinction unlikely unless total biosphere sterilization achieved. One council elder whispered, they would have to burn the entire planet. Yes, the AI confirmed. And even then, survival probability remains at 12% due to off-world colonization projects currently in development. That number echoed in every mind. Even after planetary destruction, there was still a chance humanity would survive somewhere else. The simulation ended. The hologram faded. The chamber lights brightened fully. No applause. No debate. Only heavy breathing from species that rarely felt fear. The strategist slowly sat down. He had asked for certainty. He had received it. Humanity was not the strongest species. Not yet. But they were something more dangerous. They were impossible to erase without extreme measures. And extreme measures would cost the galaxy dearly. The blue planet returned to the center of the chamber. Scarred in simulation. But still spinning. Still alive. The AI spoke one final sentence for this session. Recommendation: direct military conflict with humanity is not advised. No one argued, because deep down, they all understood. The simulation they had requested was the simulation they regretted running. The simulation ended, but the silence did not. The Galactic Council chamber had never felt so small. Moments ago, they had watched Earth burn. They had watched cities fall. They had watched billions die in projection. And still humanity survived. The blue planet floated again in the center of the chamber.
Calm.
Peaceful. As if none of the terrible futures were possible. The senior strategist who had ordered the invasion simulation remained seated. His hands were still. He had expected weakness. He had found something far more difficult. Persistence. The council chancellor finally broke the silence. Is there any scenario, she asked slowly, where humanity becomes a minor power? The AI processed the question carefully. Minor power status possible only if external interference remains minimal and no major threats occur. Several members looked confused. Explain, the chancellor said. The AI continued. Without significant pressure, human progress remains steady but divided. Internal disagreements limit unified expansion. The room understood. In peace, humans argued. In safety, they slowed down. But under threat, they changed. One elder member spoke quietly. So, the greatest mistake would be to threaten them. Yes, the AI answered without hesitation. The weight of that answer settled heavily. For thousands of years, the Council had controlled the balance of power in the galaxy. When a species grew too aggressive, they applied pressure. Sanctions. Military shows of force. Strategic warnings. It always worked. Until now. One military advisor asked a careful question. If we attempt to control their expansion through intimidation? The AI responded. High probability of long-term resistance and accelerated military development. Another advisor asked, if we isolate them? Isolation likely to increase independent growth and self-reliance. A scientist added, if we share limited technology but keep superiority. The AI paused slightly longer this time. Humans historically close technological gaps rapidly when motivated by competition. Soft murmurs filled the chamber. Every traditional control strategy carried risk. Not immediate disaster, but long-term consequences. The chancellor leaned back in her seat. Then what option remains? The AI displayed a new projection. Scenario: peaceful integration into Galactic Alliance. The simulation began quietly. Human ambassadors arrived at council stations. Cultural exchanges started. Technology shared gradually. Trade routes opened. At first, progress was slow. Humans argued internally about joining. Some wanted independence. Some feared alien influence. Some welcomed cooperation. But over time, benefits became clear. Access to new medical knowledge. Advanced energy systems. Expanded exploration rights. Human technology advanced faster, but not in panic. Not in desperation. Their military growth remained stable. Focused on defense, not expansion. The AI displayed the long-term result. Projected outcome after 100 years. humanity becomes one of the strongest allied defensive contributors. High loyalty probability if treated with respect. The room felt different now. Less fear. More understanding. One younger council member spoke carefully. They are dangerous enemies, but powerful allies. Yes, the AI confirmed. The strategist who had ordered the invasion finally stood again.
His voice was lower now.
In every hostile scenario, we created our own greatest threat. No one disagreed. The council began reviewing smaller details. Human psychology. They valued freedom deeply. They resisted control. They distrusted authority when it became oppressive. But they responded strongly to fairness, to cooperation, to shared purpose. A cultural analyst spoke. Humans admire strength, but they also admire honor. The AI confirmed. Human alliances historically last longer when built on mutual respect rather than fear. The Chancellor closed her eyes briefly. For centuries, the Council had believed stability came from dominance. But humanity did not respond normally to dominance. Pressure forged them. Conflict sharpened them.
Threat unified them.
If the galaxy treated them as a problem, they would become one. If the galaxy treated them as partners, they would defend it fiercely. The blue planet rotated slowly, peaceful and unaware of the debate happening light years away. One final question remained. The Chancellor asked it softly. What is the long-term risk if we accept them fully? The AI displayed one last projection. Scenario: humanity as full council member, 300-year outlook. The simulation showed human colonies spreading across nearby star systems. Research stations growing. Joint fleets forming with other species. Mixed crews. Shared command structures. Human adaptability combined with alien technology. The result was clear. The Galactic Alliance became stronger. More resilient.
More innovative.
External threats from unknown regions were repelled more efficiently. The AI delivered its final assessment. Risk: moderate increase in political debate and cultural disruption. Benefit: significant increase in adaptive capacity and defensive strength. Some council members even allowed small smiles. Humans would argue loudly. They would question traditions. They would challenge old systems. But they would also stand and fight when it mattered. The strategist looked once more at the planet. In the invasion simulation, he said quietly, they chased us. No one forgot that image. Human fleets, once primitive, pursuing advanced invaders across space. Not out of revenge alone, but to make sure the threat never returned. That was the final lesson. Humans did not just survive. They ensured survival. The Chancellor slowly rose from her seat. For the first time in our history, she said, we face a species we cannot intimidate, cannot easily control, and cannot safely destroy. She looked around the chamber. But we can respect them. The blue planet glowed gently in the center. Small. Divided. Still arguing among themselves at this very moment. Completely unaware that their history of war had just protected them from becoming a galactic target. The council members understood something now. Humanity's greatest strength was not their weapons, not their ships,
not even their unity.
It was their refusal to disappear. And a species that refused to disappear could shape the future of the galaxy. The Chancellor gave the final order for this session. Prepare the welcome proposal. No one objected, because fear had turned into realization, and realization had turned into decision. The galaxy would not test humanity. It would stand beside them instead. The blue planet kept spinning. And far away, humans continued their normal lives, never knowing how close they had come to becoming the galaxy's greatest war. The decision was made. But the chamber did not celebrate. The Galactic Council had voted many times before. They had welcomed species. They had removed species. They had declared wars and signed peace agreements. There was always noise after a vote.
Debate.
Relief. Sometimes anger. Today, there was only silence. The blue planet Earth still floated in the center of the chamber. It looked peaceful. White clouds moved gently over blue oceans. Golden city lights blinked in the darkness. It did not look like a threat. It did not look like a future superpower. It looked small, fragile. The Chancellor stood at the center platform. "Prepare the official message," she ordered calmly. Council aides began transmitting encrypted signals toward human space. But even as the message was prepared, no one in the chamber spoke loudly. They were thinking. For the first time in their long history, they had not chosen control. They had chosen caution and respect. The senior strategist walked slowly toward the central hologram. He studied Earth in silence. Thousands of years of war, endless internal conflict, near-extinction events, global disasters. Yet the species survived all of it. He remembered the simulation again. Human fleets chasing retreating invaders. Damaged ships still firing back. Civilians rebuilding cities while war still burned. "They do not know when to stop," he said quietly. A nearby council member replied softly. "They stop when survival is secured." That was the difference. Humans did not fight for pride alone.
They fought to exist.
The AI interrupted the silence one final time. "Transmission to Earth ready." The Chancellor nodded. "Send it." Across light years of space, a signal moved toward the solar system. It carried an invitation. Not a warning. Not a demand. An offer of alliance. The chamber lights dimmed slightly as the transmission completed. Now, there was nothing left to do but wait. The council began to review cultural archives once more. Human art. Human stories. Human history books. So many stories about impossible battles. So many legends about small groups standing against overwhelming force. Even their fictions celebrated survival. One cultural analyst spoke carefully. "They prepare their minds for struggle from childhood." The strategist nodded. "And they teach their children that giving up is worse than losing." The more they studied, the clearer it became. Humanity was shaped by pressure. Every scar became a lesson. Every disaster became a foundation for something stronger. One young council observer finally asked the question that had been building in everyone's mind. What happens in 100 years? The AI projected a distant timeline. Human colonies expanding beyond their home system. Joint research projects between species. Human engineers working beside alien scientists. Shared fleets guarding trade routes. But there was another projection too. If some distant, unknown threat appeared from outside the galaxy. The image shifted. Human ships on the front lines. Volunteers stepping forward first. Rapid adaptation to new enemy tactics. Relentless counterattacks. The AI delivered its final analysis. In cooperative alliance scenarios, humanity increases overall galactic survival probability by 23%. That number mattered. In the vast and dangerous universe, survival was everything. The Council slowly began to understand something deeper. They had feared human violence. But human violence was only a tool. What truly defined them was endurance. And endurance was contagious. Allies standing beside humans would learn from them. Adapt faster. Recover quicker. Refuse extinction. The strategist looked around the chamber. For centuries, he said, we believed strength meant control. He turned back to Earth's image. But perhaps strength means standing with those who refuse to fall. No one argued, because every simulation had shown the same truth. Destroying humanity would cost too much. Controlling humanity would fail. But respecting humanity, that could change the galaxy. The chamber doors slowly opened as the session ended. Council members began leaving quietly. Still no loud conversations. Still no celebration. Only thought. As they exited, the hologram of Earth slowly faded away. But before it disappeared completely, one final data point appeared on the dark screen. Humanity, status, survivors. That single word remained for several seconds. Survivors. Not conquerors. Not destroyers. Survivors. And in a universe full of ancient empires that had risen and fallen, survivors were the rarest power of all. Far away on Earth, humans continued their ordinary lives. They argued about politics. They played games. They built new technology. They complained about traffic. They laughed. They dreamed. They had no idea that light years away, the most powerful council in the galaxy had chosen peace because of them. No idea that their long history of struggle had protected them from becoming a target. No idea that their greatest weapon was not something built in a factory, but something built over thousands of years. The refusal to disappear. Back in the silent chamber, only the Chancellor remained. She looked one last time at the empty space where Earth had been displayed. So much chaos, she whispered softly. Then she added, so much potential. The lights finally dimmed completely. For the first time in history, the Galactic Council ended a session without argument, without pride, without threats, only with understanding. And that was why, when the Galactic Council reviewed human military history, no one spoke, because they were not looking at a weak species. They were looking at the future, and the future had learned how to survive.